Hello and welcome to round 6 of season 7 here in PSF1 F3. We've got 15 drivers today, potentially a 16th depending on if Tim can get in. But at the moment we've got Jamesy on pole, Kuna Matata second, Keegan doing well in third, Cook Monster fourth, and Steve in fifth, Polar Blizz sixth. Bugatti struggling at the moment. He's in 7th. He's done a 29.3. We'll try and find him if he's on a lap now. He is, so we'll try and go on board with him. No, he's not on a lap, so Bugatti will be starting quite far down the order as we see KLC there taking an interesting route through, I believe that's Maggots and Beckett. So at the moment, as you can see, we've got James on pole. He's got a fairly decent gap, and Bugatti at the moment in 8th. I want to try. I'm sure he must be out on a lap, but he doesn't seem to be. As we see there, the tyres are all super soft. Bugatti now going to be potentially out of the top 10, which would be a massive hit for the championship leader, that's for sure, allowing others to catch up in the championship. It is pretty much wrapped up for him now, but that by no means guarantees him promotion to F2. It does only mean that he will get into F2 in the mid-season promotion, which will be after this race if drivers in F3 leave. So at the moment, it looks like we're pretty much all said and done. Bugatti is not going to be with us as Steve goes second with a 128.222. So it's a decent lap from Steve there. But other than that, I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to finish. We've got Cook Monster on a lap at the moment. No, he's pulled off his. Bendel's on a lap as well, as we'll go around with him now. Cook Monster's gone, so Bendel, can he get a good lap? It looks pretty slow, to be fair, but maybe he'll improve. 29.1 is what he needs to beat. He will only move up if he beats his time by 4/10. And he didn't know. It didn't look particularly fast, to be fair. And that is qualifying over, I believe. So hopefully we'll just be able to get this random to leave quickly, and then we'll be on our way into the race. So Jamesy takes pole. It is PFC Steve in second, Kuna Matata third, Keegan in McLaren fourth. A good result from him in qualifying. Smerton's up in P5, Cook Monster 6th, Polar Blizz in 7th, Bendel 8th, Aaron Taylor 9th, not used to seeing him down there, and Bugatti all the way down in 10th place. We are 100% not used to seeing that. He will start on the soft tyres. KLC 11th, 12th is Jake, 13th Show Jaws, 14th and 15th is Fear and Cooley, who didn't set a time, both of those two. So unfortunately we've not been able to have our 2-minute grace period again as Aaron readies up early. That's unfortunate to see. So no one will get their 2 minutes now, unfortunately. But we're about to go onto our formation lap now. And hopefully we will get to see the cars going round. Here we go. So Jamesy in the Ferrari on pole. And at the moment, let's see. We've got everyone outside of the top 10 on soft, apart from Fear, who starts on the supers. That's interesting. And Tim, who did get into the session, he starts 16th, and he's on the hardest compound, that is the medium tyre for this race. Bugatti, the only top 10 runner to be starting on the soft tyres. As we just have a look at the standings now in the F3 Championship. And it is, of course, Bugatti up top on 118 points. He's always twice points of Jamesy, who is second in the championship, on 63. 62 points, Kuna Matata. 35 points is KLC. He's in the last promotion spot. He's on 35. Cook Monster behind on 26, so he needs a good result today. Fifth in the table. Not far behind him, Bendel and Smertens, the two Renault drivers, are 5th and 6th, sorry, 6th and 7th in the table. Jake, our new racer, as of I believe 2 races ago, he's up on 20 points, and he is down in 8th place. Keegan 9th, Aaron in 10th, and Ollie in 11th. So there's plenty of points still to be gained. Miles and Racer are the only non-point scorers so far this season. So as they all come round into the last couple of corners now, hopefully we'll be able to get away cleanly in the race, and we will get underway shortly. We'll just wait for the last car to come into position, which is Tim, as we're spectating now. He's just coming round the last corner now, and we're about to go racing very shortly here. So everyone is in position. And 5 lights, and away we go here in Silverstone, and looks like a good start for Jamesy. He's got away cleanly from Steve, and Kuna Matata's right behind the Red Bull, though he's dropped off a little bit. There's a bit of contact by looks for going through the first corner, but other than that, everyone away cleanly. And as I say that, we've got a car off in the background. Might have been Showjord's. Who was it? Can we try and see? May have been Polar Blizz. Yep, it was Polar Blizz. So Polar Blizz off at turn. Oh, and he's binned it going through turn 3 as well. Wow, Polar Blizz, not a good start to the race at all. Everyone else though is away cleanly. Bugatti's already up to 5th place, so a great start from the championship leader. And he's fighting already. Look at him go. The Williams pushing his way past at the moment. And he's had a great start, the Williams driver. As we can see now, flat through here. Maybe not so much now they've got the heavy fuel loads. A couple of cars getting caught out by it further back. And so we see a few of the McLaren of Keegan there has dropped right down. He's down in 8th place, so he's had a shocking start. He's behind his team. And now as we see, I believe the Smertens going wide. It was. The Renault's really not doing well at the moment. Smertens and Bendel have dropped places massively already. Oh, who is that going wide? That was one of the Renaults again. That was Bendel this time. And as we can see, Aaron Taylor's lost it. He almost collects his teammate there. And we have one of the Haas cars having a look. And Aaron has lost it going through the last corner, unfortunately for him. And there's contact through. Oh, KLC's gone. As we are right on board now with Bugatti. And chaos in the first lap at the end of the lap. It was a fairly clean getaway for everyone, but towards the end of the lap it's all chaos. And as we can see, Keegan's down in 11th, Aaron's down in 12th, Bendel and Polar Blizz all the way down there. Fear's up to 13th because of that. Tim is all the way up into 9th from last on the grid, and you can see the big gainers in this already. So Steve started 2nd, he's still in 2nd now. And as you can see, the gap to Jamesy is just over 7/10 of a second. It'll be within DRS if we can keep that gap on the next lap. But at the moment, he's doing a good job. So we've only lost one car at the moment. That is KLC. As Tim Shirt trying to make a position on Showjord's. Those two dicing for position, and Shojul sweeps around the outside. As Bugatti has gone, so we've lost the championship leader. I wonder where he's gone off. We're not going to get to see, unfortunately. We'll try and scoot round to wherever he is. And there he is, he's lost it going through Magnus and Beckett, so finally his ballast has caught him off guard. And he has gone from this race. As I believe Kunamatata sets fastest lap. Yes, he does at 132.6. And he's actually passed... Oh, where has Steve gone? Steve is all the way down in 4th place now. So what has happened to Steve? As we have yellows through sector 2 and 3 still. Keegan drops down into 12th place. Fear is up into 13th. He's fighting, or is he in the pit? He's in the pit. So both the McLaren drivers in the pits. This is going to cost whoever's behind a massive amount of time. And as you can see, Keegan there unable to get through at the moment. So he will be very frustrated with that. And Fear is already on his way. So he jumped both of the McLarens in that pit stop. And he's back out onto super softs, is he? Yeah, so he is on super softs. Aaron going to go all the way to the end on mediums. But Fear back on super softs. That is a very interesting strategy call from him. Jake, meanwhile, was doing well. He's in 6th. Bugatti has finally left the session. Unfortunately for our championship leader, he will not be winning a race today. And as we have a jostle for position just slightly up the field. So it's slightly further down the field. Timsha gets past Shojord. Steve is losing ground massively here, and he's lost it again coming out of Maggins and Beckett's. And that is pretty much race over for the Red Bull driver. As Jamesy sets the fastest lap of 132.5. But Keegan all the way down there, he's some 14 seconds behind his teammate now, so that pit stop really cost him. But yeah, Steve, I wonder if he's going to pit actually. We'll have a look now. Yep, he is heading into the pits. So whether he's got front wing damage or not quite sure. But starting second, and it's not quite gone as well for him. Cook Monster up into 3rd place then. He's done well so far. And fastest laps as we look at it. Timsha actually doing very well. He's 1.3 slower than... someone that's on 2 tyre compounds softer than him, so he's doing well, making good progress. And he's 4 seconds off of Jake, so he's not too far behind. Aaron gets past Fear. And as you can see, Tim already made 10 positions. Everyone's made positions pretty much, apart from those that have DNF'd or made pit stops. So as you see there on the stops, all of the ones down the bottom. And Fear is back in the pits, so unfortunately he's had contact somewhere else around the track. And as you can see there, Steve down by 10, Keegan down by 9 positions, so they're really not having a good race so far. Meanwhile up front, Jamesy has a very comfortable lead at the moment from Kunamatata, who's not too far behind, but he's not going to be causing Jamesy to be making mistakes at this stage of the race, that's for sure, especially with a gap of 2.5 seconds. Cook Monster not too far behind him. He's another 1.5 behind. And we've got Smertens in the Renault, who somehow has got his way up into P4 again. And he's being chased by Jake. So Smertens back up. He was all the way down in 11th at one point. He's got back up into 4th place. Podabliz, who was last by a country mile at one point, he's got right onto the back of Bendel. And he's got good pace here at the moment, so we might actually go on board with him now. And coming through turn 3 now into turn 4, following Bendel, who's had a good season so far. He's been steady but consistent. He's not the quickest of drivers by any means, but he's definitely got the racing ability. As we see now, Podabliz trying to maybe try a different line as they come into what was the start-finish straight. Keegan sets the fastest lap, 1:31.6. That's a pretty decent lap, to be fair, on soft tyres this early in the race. As you can see, Bendel has gone very deep and he's already lost the position before the corners even finished. Just went in way too deep, carried way too much speed. And Podobliz is now up into what I believe is 9th place. It is indeed. So unfortunately for Bendel, they're just carrying far too much speed through that section of the track. And Tim, who's not too far behind Jake, or is he? No, he's quite far behind. Jake is losing. Oh, look how close he is to the back of Smertens. My goodness. Having a look maybe into turn 3. He's going to go for the move. And he's not going to keep it. Smertens is fought back. That's good play from the Renault driver. And is he going to keep the position? No, he's not. Jake has far better traction coming out of that corner. The line he took there was lining up for that, definitely. Smertens couldn't block it off, unfortunately, and Smertens is back down into 5th place as he has a little look up the inside there. Don't think he's going to go for it into this long right-hander. It's very tricky to get a move done through here. And Jake holds the position, so Jake up into 4th place already. He's having a good race. And Cook Monster's actually caught up to the back of Kuna Matata, so this could be interesting to watch. As they come through Maggots and Beckett's now. Kuna Matata clipping the grass a little bit. Another fastest lap from Keegan. So he's doing well at the moment, making good progress. And as we can see, Jake and Timsha doing well so far. Showjaws and Cooley also doing very well. As Podobliz has got past Cooley as well. So he's on a flyer at the moment. Here's Podobliz. He is absolutely flying. He's just jumped 2 cars in the space of a lap, so good for him. He's clearly got pace here. As we see behind, Cooley having a go at, I believe this is Bendel. He's actually got, no, he's not got past, he's defending from him, sorry. Bendel maybe have a look, possibly into turn 3 if he can get close enough to the back of the Mercedes. Over the start-finish straight now. As you can see, Bendel's taking a slightly different line there to try and get the airflow going, and he's caught up hugely, and he's just not aggressive enough to have a look down into turn 3, maybe into turn 4. Nope, he's going to sit behind him again, so he's going to be losing time here because he's on the softer tyres, so he needs to try and get past the Mercedes here. He'll have DRS as they come down the straight, and as we can see here, he's just getting so close. He's going to have a look. No, he's not. He's pulled out again. So, and Fear's gone from the session, so Disabled Fear has put it in a wall somewhere in the 2nd sector. And that will be his race done and dusted. So already down to 13 drivers with only 7 laps gone. So you see lifting through here as the car's so much heavier, and Fear's car right there, he must have lost it coming out of the previously used as a first corner, and he's got a much better line. Bendel through here, he's not able to catch Cooley though, so he must have made a little mistake previously round the lap. As we go back on board with the race leader, Jake now up into 2nd place. He's making great progress at the moment. He's got an 11-second gap though, and who's in the pit? So we've got Cook Monster and Kuna Matata both in the pits, so this will be interesting. As we can see, Kuna Matata has got out in front. I believe that is the order they were running in before the pit stop, so no change there. But they will be coming out in traffic because Bendel's just gone past. Podobliz is not going to come past, that's for sure. But now they are behind Bendel and Cooley, I believe it is. And Kuna Matata's made quick work of that, and Cook Monster's lost out massively here because he's got a 2-car deficit now to Kuna Matata, who is in front of him now. As you can see, all these guys have DRS on each other. This could be fascinating down into the 2nd sector now, and it is the move from Cook Monster that seals the deal. And he's trying to go round the outside here, surely not. Has he got the grip? He has. Oh my goodness, what a move. And a bit of lag there from Cook Monster sets him back, straight back onto the gearbox of Kuna Matata. Some great racing there from the Sauber driver. Cooley maybe struggling a bit on those fresh tyres. Look how close he gets there. I'm not sure if we're seeing lag or not at the moment. So Kuna Matata is actually on mediums, as you can see there, the game telling us otherwise for the moment. But Cook Monster behind him is on super soft tyres. Jamesy and Smerton's also in the pit, so we'll see where Jamesy comes out actually, because this could be quite interesting. He's going to come out behind Kuna Matata, I would... Actually no, sorry, he won't come out behind Kuna Matata because he was quite away in front, but he's going to be behind Showjord's, not behind Smerton's. As you can see, he's got quite a gap to his second place rival. So Jamesy comes back out, theoretically in the lead. There will be no safety car because the safety car is off. Unfortunately, we have glitches with the safety car still, so the safety car is turned off for this week. As Cook wants to make the position on Kuna Matata, has he? He's lagging a fair bit. Is he going to get past? And he has. The Sauber driver is past, so Kuna Matata trying everything to try and stay out of the Sauber's way in regards to lagging into the back of him, but it's dangerous in Cook Monster with that sort of lag, especially on a track like this where it's high speed, and Kuna Matata getting out of shape through that fast right-hander, and he's just not having a good day at the moment. He's on a wheel, he's told us, and that's going to be another couple of warnings there, that's for sure. Struggling is the Italian right now. So we'll go up front with Joe George, see what he's doing. He's staying out for another lap. Tim has made great progress. He's second now in the race. And hopefully we'll be able to get some details on where James... So James is 17 seconds behind Jake. Now this is the gap we need to watch, because obviously James is on the slower tyre. So it's 17.1 at the moment. And as far as I can see, he's actually gaining on Jake. So this isn't good for Jake. Jake needs to try and get out in and out as quickly as he can, although I don't think he's getting out in front of Jamesy. He did have an 11-second deficit before the pit stops. So if he can make that up, that'd be very impressive. As Polar Blizz makes a move on Bendel. And what's happened here? Has there been an incident? Bendel is... Oh no, sorry, Bendel's in the pits, so that's why he's gone up. Keegan now up into P11, so he's one place off the points now. Steve up into 10th, so he's back in the points. His pace proving fruitful at the moment. But he's chasing down Aaron Taylor at the moment, who has 9th place to his name. Can't imagine that's going to last very long though, unfortunately, as Aaron did pit quite early. So who hasn't pitted? Cook Monster, has he pitted? Let's just have a look here. And everyone's made a stop apart from the top 3. So Cook Monster has not made a good strategy call here. He's on the super soft tyres. So unless he can somehow get past Jamesy within the next, I want to say, 5 to 8 laps, then he's put himself in a very bad situation. Cook Monster does set the fastest lap though. The gap is 2.8 to Jamesy. So unfortunately we have got a bit of lag with Cook Monster. But Jamesy chases down Showjords in the Mercedes. And at the moment he is being held up because of the drag being caused from that Mercedes. Can he try and find a way past, maybe into Stowe at the end of the lap? I don't think he would try and get past before that. Quite risky anywhere else, to be honest. As we can see, Timsha up 14 positions, Showjaw's up 10 positions, and Jake up 11 positions. Fantastic from those guys. As you can see, Cook Monster in the background catching Jamesy, and Jamesy's going to have a lack of downforce through Maggots and Beckett's now. He's so close to the back of the Mercedes, who is on dying soft tyres. But does Jamesy have the straight line speed? And it looks like he has. He must have had a poor exit, Showjaws, because he's got no fight whatsoever in those tyres. And whether he pits now or not. No, he stays out, so Showjaws staying out for now. But it's Cook Monster that we want to try and keep an eye on. He's dropped to James. As you can see there, the gap is now 2.6 seconds, so he's actually lost a couple of tenths somehow. even with fresh air. Tim doing a good job in third. Jake in second place. He's 6.1 seconds ahead of Timsha, so he's doing a good job at the moment. But Kuna Matata's got it all to do here. He's going to be the one that's probably most likely... He's on super soft as well, so that is interesting. Whether we see him pit again or not, I'm not sure. I would expect him to pit again. In fact, I think he's only used super soft tyres, so he has to pit again. So interesting drivers here looking for the two-stop strategy. I wouldn't expect to see that in F1 or even F2. I would imagine everyone would be doing the one-stop strat. But Showjaw's yet to make a stop. So Cook Monster, oh sorry, Kuna Matata is of course on the mediums. The game I completely forgot is glitched and told us he's on super soft. He is on medium, so he will go to the end. He's 2.4 seconds behind Cook Monster, and he's not really getting down the straight, so he's obviously got a lack of straight line speed, but he's definitely going through the corners as Jake finally heads into the pits. We'll see where he comes out. The Force India gets 4 brand new medium tyres, and he'll be back out presumably into around P6, and that is exactly where it's going to come out, because this man Smertens is way too far behind. I say that, but he's going to be closer than I originally thought. The gap is still around 10 seconds, I would say. Maybe not actually. No, it's a lot closer actually. It's only 3 seconds, so if he can't get these tyres to work straight away, he could be under pressure here from Smertens. But I wouldn't expect that, as Jake does indeed come out in P6. Showjord still yet to make a stop. He's doing well in P4 in the Mercedes. Jamesy taking chunks of time out of Timsha now, who started on the medium tyres. He's made them work well up to this point. And really at the moment we're looking down at drivers such as Aaron Taylor to try and drag those mediums to the end. Kuna Matata most likely to pick off a couple more positions and finish in third. Jake potentially as well. He's quite a way behind Kuna Matata at the moment though, so maybe not. But it's Jamesy who theoretically has the lead, as Timsha does indeed pit. So we'll try and stay on board with Timsha. So he will be the last person to make a pit stop. That is mandatory anyway. Cook Monster of course will pit again because he's run 2 super soft stints. And out he goes. So he started last, remember, Timsha, joined the session late. Where is he going to come out? That is the big question. As we see Showjord's in the pit as well. And Timsha comes out in a very good looking P6. So he's done really well for himself there. He started P16 and he's up into P6. Not a bad stint at all on the medium tyres. And Aaron's actually got past Showjord's. So that's... oh, and there was in the background, Keegan I think was getting past Showjord's. He was indeed. So the McLaren driver, very aggressive and very quick to get past the Mercedes, who's on fresh tyres, not necessarily warm tyres at this point. And Showjord is now on the medium tyres. We started on the soft, he's now on the medium. Cooley down in 13th place, is back in the pits. Fortunately I don't think he's going to be anywhere near. Oh, Cook Monster's gone, so his lag must have kicked him out, as Jamesy of course has taken the lead now. And Cook Monster is not on his out lap, of course. He's just left the session, so maybe that is indicating that he is out of the session. As we go on board with Kuna Matata, as he's got Smertens right behind him. So we have a yellow in sector 1. Can only assume that's Cook Monster's AI. Polar Blizz heads into the pits. Unfortunately for him, probably not going to get points now unless he can pull a very quick stint out of the bag. Now Keegan's also in the pits. And who's that up ahead? That is Jake, is it, up ahead? Or it's either a lapped car. It is, it's not Jake, it's possibly who's the other Mercedes driver? It's definitely not Jake. Kuna Matata's chasing. Oh, it's not 3, it's 13. And that is who is 13? It's Cooley, that's right. Oh, and as we ride on board with Cooley, he has lost it. And the Mercedes driver not having a good day here in Silverstone. Really not going well for him at the moment. And that just seals his fate for last place, unfortunately. So Smerton's actually lost time there to the back of Kuna Matata. And it's Timsha now doing the chasing. He's on the faster soft tyres, so he's definitely got a chance for a podium potentially here, because Cook Monster is in the pit, so his AI has pitted him. That is a shame. He was going to have to pit again anyway. This gives a great chance of a podium for Timsha now. He's in 5th place, he's on the faster tyre, and he's right behind 3rd and 4th place right now, so I would say 1st and 2nd is pretty much set in stone. But the battle for the last podium spot is going to be on here. Time penalties may play a factor, but it's going to be who can get past who the quickest here, and Timsha's got to make the most of these fresh tyres. The Showjaws moves up to 7th, Steve up to 8th. Is Bendel going to move up to 9th potentially? He would after the Cook Monster's AI, unless he's got back in. Let's just have a quick little look. No, he's still in AI mode, okay. So as we see Bendel going past now. Oh, Kuna Matata's gone really wide! Really wide, and that's going to cost him loads of time. As we can see there, the Ferrari going round the outside. Oh my goodness. And he has lost control, and unfortunately for Timsha, he's just got way too deep there into Maggots and Beckett's. He's tried a silly move, and it's really not paid off for him. I can't believe he's tried that. He was in such a good position. He pretty much had a podium in the bag, and now he's bottled it. And it looks like Kuna Matata's going to run away with it because Smertens has dropped off. And Tim is now defending from Aaron, who is going to have a go into Stowe corner, and he is through. Tim really not good there. Really poor piece of racecraft. He's gone for the dive bomb on Aaron. He's kept out the way, keeping his nose half clean at this point, but he's really put himself in a bad position for the rest of the race. So he's now got Showjaws, I believe that is, in the back of him. Yep. Oh no, it's Cooley. Showjaws is just behind him. Cooley's being lapped at the moment, so Timsha won't have to surrender the position there, and he gets so close to the back of the McLaren of Aaron there, coming into turn 4 and 5 now. So we'll have DRS, but whether he has the straight line speed or not is another question. Bendel in P9. Polarbiz up into the point scoring position as Keegan sets the fastest lap of the race at 1:31.1. As we go back towards the front, Jake is still chasing. James E is losing time though, 13.5 now. Another 10th there in the middle sector, but I have to say Smertens does look pretty set to get P4 at this stage. I would say the top 4 pretty much as they are, unless Smertens has the pace to get Kuna Matata. Let's have a look at the deltas here. He's got a slower straight line speed, that's for sure. Whether he's just saving fuel at the moment or not, I'm not quite sure. But Aaron losing the position to Tim. So Tim's got back past Aaron Taylor, who's on the fresher tyres, remember, is Tim. So he should be making these positions up at this stage of the race. Aaron, of course, on massively warm medium tyres after that incident early on in the race. Through turn 1 and 2 now, flat out in these cars, even in the race. And Tim up to 5th in the moment. He's got 9 seconds to make up on Smertens, who's actually lost a couple of tenths to Kuna Matata. So maybe he's just at this stage just trying to get into a good rhythm. He's running standard. He's got plenty of fuel left though. Kuna Matata meanwhile, he's got plenty of fuel as well. So these guys are on a very level playing field in terms of fuel and tyres. So it's going to be a race to the end for these guys, very even depending on how they use their fuel. Timsha meanwhile, 8.3 seconds is now the gap. Can he gain through the middle sector? It was 8.3, and after Maggots and Beckett's it's down to 8.1, so he gained a couple of tenths. It's not really enough. 3 tenths there, as you can see, and he is running in standard as well, so he's pretty much on the same strategy as the other guys in front of him in terms of fuel. He's got Aaron not too far behind him, and Steve makes a move on Show Jords. And as you can see, that Show Jords is now behind, so unfortunately we didn't get a very good view of that. But he is passed. Show Jords hanging on to 8th position at the moment. He's got Bendel not far behind him, and Aaron's back in the pit, so he'll probably go on to super soft tyres. He does, and he'll go to the end now, probably setting the fastest lap. Is he going to drop out the points here actually? He probably is, because Keegan's coming past the start finish line now. Yep, and he's lost the position to his teammate, so the McLaren's fighting for the last points here. The AI of Cook Monster is not going to catch them, and Cooley is certainly not going to catch them. He's a lap down. But meanwhile, Jamesy up front is absolutely flying. He's got 7 laps and 2 corners to go, and he's got a 14-second lead now. He could probably put Super Sauce on and get back past Jake if he really wanted to. So that's the sort of comfort he's got at the moment. Great race from Jamesy so far. Started pole and he's led pretty much every lap, barring the guys in front of him that were on different strategies. So a good race from him, as Polar Blitz is getting past Bendel, going into Maggots and Beckett. So that's an interesting overtaking spot. Whether Bendel has a look at him down to Stowe will be another question. I don't think he's got the run. No, he's not. So Aaron now 2.6 seconds behind Keegan. Whether Keegan will let him through or not, I'm not sure, because he's got a 9, probably almost a 10-second gap to Bendel as Aaron, and of course he's on fresh super sauce, so he's going to be so much quicker. But whether he gets let through by his teammate or not is entirely another question indeed. Smerton's dropping off the back of Kuna Matata now, so it looks like, as I said earlier, the top 4 pretty much set in stone. Timsha not gaining quick enough at the moment. He's got to be gaining a second a lap at this point, and I just don't think it's happening for him, unfortunately. He had a chance of a podium at one point, but yeah, he bottled that massively with a move going to Maggots and Beckett's, and it, as you can see, didn't come off at all. You could have a good battle going on for 6th place potentially. There's a bit of a gap between the cars at the moment, but they could close up towards the end of the race. Steve is currently holding 6th position, but he's on the mediums behind a car that is much faster. I mean, he's very slow through the middle sector though, so he's going to have lost a lot of time. As you can see there, Chodros has taken 4 tenths out of him alone in that section of the track. And we'll watch the gap is back up to 2.2. So as you can see now, back down to 2.0, so he must have really low wings, PFC Steve, because he has just not got any cornering speed at the moment. Obviously he's on older tyres, and Chodros has a big slide going out the penultimate corner. The gap is back up to 2.3 now, so Chodros losing some time there. Polar Blizz catching as well, he's only 2.4 behind. We want to see this. Is Aaron going to get let through by his teammate? It will probably be on the straight, as Aaron does indeed set the fastest lap on 130.5. At what point, if is Keegan going to let Aaron through? Of course, he's on the faster tyre at this stage. Keegan has been on those softs a fair while now. He's not going to let him through just yet. He's not quite close enough. Showjords hasn't really caught much. We're right on board with Steve through this middle sector actually. So it's almost flat through Cop's corner with a little lift there. Into Beckett's now. A little bit better that time. The gap did shoot up, so I wonder if Showjords made a mistake. I think he did because he's right in front of Polar Blizz. And Polar Blizz has the position, so Showjords, who was actually catching Steve, has made a mistake. And Polar Blizz is through, so good for him. He can now go chase Steve on the faster tyre. 4 laps to go, 4 seconds. It's not impossible, but it is a tall order. As Smertens is actually catching now. I've just seen the delta. He's only 1.7 behind Kuna Matata right now. So we could have a battle for that final podium position in the end. As you can see, Showjords just has no reply at the moment. Bendel is on his own, unfortunately. Now these two still going for it. Aaron's following Keegan for a lap or two. We set the fastest lap 2 laps ago. He's now stuck behind his teammate and getting held up. Is Keegan going to let him through? He's fighting for a point. Keegan's going to lose the position in the next lap or so anyway, so it's really down to him whether he wants to fight his teammate or not. Aaron really trying to use a different line to try and get that car working as well as he can. 18 seconds now is the gap from Jamesy to Jake. He's absolutely flying up the front. Great camera shot there as they come through. Cops almost flat. Aaron with a little spat of oversteer there. They're pretty much flat through at this stage, with the cars being so much lighter, and of course Aaron on super soft tyres. Is he going to be close enough coming down the straight here? He is closing, but it's not going to be enough. So he's getting close up, but it's just not close enough. He's going to have a go. Surely not. Into turn 16, and he's so close to the back of his teammate. He's holding him up, and it's just not looking good for him at the moment. He's surely going to have a look into turn 3 this lap. Keegan, is he going to fight? Up the inside goes Aaron, and Keegan gives him a squeeze, and unfortunately for the Scotsman, that is entirely his own fault. He didn't give his teammate anywhere near enough room, and he's paid the ultimate price. And Bendel's going to lose the position pretty rapidly here as well. Aaron is right on his tail already, having passed his teammate just 2 corners ago, and he's so much quicker. He's got so much grip. Is he going to try it around the outside here? Possibly. And he is passed. So Aaron up into P9 ahead of Bendel now. And Keegan, let's just see where he is. He's dropped off, but maybe not too far. Showjords struggling. Is he going to have enough pace to hold off Aaron, who is flying at the moment? He's only got 3 laps though. As Jamesy now has almost a 20-second gap. And Smertens is now within DRS range, so he has caught the back of Kuna Matata. Can he get close enough? He's got 3 laps now to do this. Both these guys using the wheel. So on a level playing field in terms of driving technique and what they're actually racing with. But I would put my money on Smertens here. He's got DRS. He looks calm and collected at this stage. Kuna Matata's losing time. He knows he's losing time to the car behind. Whether he's just been running it in standing, trying to save fuel for a little bit, not quite sure. As Polar Blizz is catching PSF Steve. And Steve isn't particularly the quickest car out there at all at the moment. He's definitely losing time to Polar Blizz. As we see another little spat of... Oh, and he's gone wide, and Kuna Matata's going to lose the position. As Smertens comes down the hanger straight. He's got the slipstream. I don't think he's got the DRS. No, he hasn't. Into Stowe corner. He's got a bit of dirt on his tyres, but he's going to force Kuna Matata wide, and he is through. And as I said, Kuna Matata, and he's actually pitting, so he must have just have really poor tyre wear at this stage. He's got 2 laps to go, and he's going to put on the super softs. He's actually on the mediums. Oh my goodness gracious me, it's all gone completely off the tracks here. And Silverstone's going to have a dramatic last couple of laps here, because Steve is going to move up into 5th place. Kuna Matata's going to lose out massively here. Polar Blizz is going to come up into 6th place. Aaron Taylor's going to move up again. He's gone round the outside of Showjords through the last corner, and he's up into 7th now. Wow, Aaron Taylor, what a brilliant end to the race for him. As we see there, Keegan in the background has actually got past Bendel. And it's a brilliant camera shot, thank you Codemasters. But he might actually catch the car in front of him, who is Showjords. He's got 2 laps to do it. Aaron is certainly not going to try and help him by backing him up. Showjords not in DRS range at this stage. Aaron's going to settle for 7th unless penalties have a factor to play. Polar Blizz is not really close enough to the back of Steve. As we can see there, the gap is 1.6, 1.7 now, and he's just losing too much time where it counts at the moment. He's on the faster tyre, but these tyres will be getting past their best now, that's for sure. How much speed can he carry before he starts compromising his corner entry and exit? He did gain about 4/10 through Maggots and Beckett's, but it's just not going to be enough. He's got 1 lap now to do it. Jamesy's on his final lap of the race, and he's probably near the end of the lap, to be honest. Halfway round already. We'll get back to him. Smertens looks good for a podium. I don't think Tim's going to catch him, unless again penalties have a part to play in this. Steve holds on, but it's going to be right down to the wire here between these two. And I wonder if he can get close enough. Jamesy coming through. Maggots and Beckett's now. And he's so close. He's actually dropped off a little bit. And we're on the final lap now, and as Jamesy is cruised through this race really, and he's going to take the victory here in Britain. Bugatti crashed out early on. Jamesy's taken pole, he's taken the race win here today, and he will take his 25 points very happily indeed. A very good performance from him today, fantastic from the Ferrari driver. But it's a Polar Blizz we want to be watching really, if we're going to get to. Unfortunately we might not get to here, which is very unfortunate. Polar Blizz is 2/10 behind. And it doesn't look like we're going to get a chance to actually view. And Polar Blizz didn't get him in the end. Oh, he's still going actually, let's say it was still going. 1.6, 0.09. Is he going to get him on the line? No, he's not. Oh, how unlucky. And Tim has actually finished 4th, so well done to him, finishing starting 16th. Aaron's going to get 7th place. Keegan in 8th place, I believe. Bendel's going to come home in 10th place to claim the final points. Kuna Matata didn't even finish in the points in the end. My. What a brilliant end to the race. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see anyone cross the line other than Jamesy. But that is a good win for him. So after all that and a lot of penalties, Jamesy does indeed take the victory. It is Jake who comes up from P12 to take second place eventually after all that drama on the last few laps, and certainly in the first few laps as well. He was very clean, very quick. But it's Tim Shaw, the big gainer today, from 16th all the way up to 4th place. He's done incredibly well. Definitely one of the better drivers today, that's for sure. Show George comes home to claim 2 points. Polar Blitz did well to come home in 6th in the end. Steve just fighting him off. They did have the same amount of time penalties, so no change for position there. Keegan ends up finishing behind his teammate after holding him up, so Aaron may have got a bit closer to Polar Blitz if he hadn't been held up by his teammate. I'm sure there'll be an incident to view there. Cooley and Cook Monster, who didn't get to rejoin the session, finish a lap down. So that's all for this week. Next week is Hungary. Hope you can join us again for another, what is hopefully going to be a fantastic race. Hungary, of course, a bit narrower in terms of track width. Definitely harder to overtake. So we'll see you next week, and hopefully some very good racing. Bye bye for now.